What is up, everybody, and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube here, where it is time to level me up. Today, doing my initial champion review on Venom the Duck. Just got him out of the 5x scrambled egg crystals on the little early release bundle that they had. We're going to jump right into it. Here's a quick look at his stats. 17,000 health, 1193 attack at rank 5, level 50. Of course, this is a 4-star. All of his attributes feel pretty average. Crit rating 12%, damage rating 140, armor rating 10%, and then block proficiency just over 50%. Feels like a pretty average 4-star. Here's a quick look at his SIG ability. We'll come back to that here in a little bit. The first thing I wanted to kind of talk about was the aberration effect building up buffs. It's basically a timer. And every time it gets to 100%, you get a buff. It's a random buff. One of the biggest flaws I feel like in this character is just the RNG of what you're going to end up getting. You really have to pay attention to how you play him, and it creates a very different playstyle, which can be very fun. But yeah, it takes a while to build him up and to make him consistent. All the buffs are in 2 different categories. You can increase the likelihood of one of the categories over the other one with synergies, but you can't increase the likelihood of a specific buff from a category. My favorites here were Fury and Regen. Next I would probably say would be the Perfect Block and Precision, and then lastly, Power Rate and Armor Up. Perfect Block was actually really nice. It when you mix it in with Domino, it seems like you're getting that 0 damage from blocking pretty regularly. Domino is one of the synergies we'll go over here in a second, but you basically have a 16% chance to getting any one of those buffs. The synergies change it just barely, but yeah. Critical hits have a chance to bleed, which if you like bleed, if you have deep wounds, then you definitely want to take advantage of as many precision buffs as you possibly can. In the event a character is bleed immune, then they get a degen. A little bit less damage, but still worth your while. Whenever you do get buffs, you're going to want to bank them, basically, towards the end of that buff's life. And to do that, you have to launch a special or land a heavy attack. You have to actually deal the damage on the heavy, not just set it off. The reason why you want to bank the buffs at the start of the fight, any banked buffs get activated. So you can start the fight out really powerful, or if you have regens, locked in there, you can heal up. There's a lot of versatility in that respect. Here's a quick look at the specials. Special 1 is mainly utility. Special 2, that toxic armor, it increases their armor, but at the same time, it allows you to deal just a ton of damage. It's really kind of nice. And then, of course, the Special 3 is activating the buffs regularly. Here's a look at the synergies. So the first one there with Carnage and Venom Pool, that is to increase the Frenzy symbiote buffs. So that is your Fury, your Precision, and your Power Up. The next one there is Survival, Agent Venom and Spider-Man symbiote. And that is for Regen, Armor Up, and Perfect Block. Now, if you have both of those activated, it's still going to be 16% chance for any buff. If you have one of them activated, the one that is activated basically is going to be about 25% chance. The category that is not synergized is going to be about an 8% chance, just to kind of give you the numbers back there. Domino is an amazing synergy here because it allows your toxic armor to have basically like 100% attachment rate. So really good if you want to deal out tons of damage. And Groot is actually really good because he extends the length of the regen. Venom, I didn't really actually use him a whole lot. Or I didn't use the synergy a whole lot, but it seems really good. Because at the start of every fight, you ignore those penalties. And you get an enhanced Fury or enhanced Precision or enhanced Regen, whatever it happens to be. Blade is really good if you're bleed heavy. Howard the Duck is okay, and the Symbiote Supreme really kind of worthless. Like, I didn't really see the point in having the Nullify and Fate Seal resistance at all in this. I went up against a couple of champs a couple of times. I don't think I recorded it, but it didn't really matter. Like, the Nullify was not a big deal. But yeah. So let's jump back real quick and take a look at this SIG ability. So it basically increases the effect of the charge at the start of the fight, and then it also increases the siphon damage, which allows you to get your buffs faster. So it increases that aberration buff charge rate. And then of course Toxic Armor lasts longer, which is really, really important if you want to deal out a ton of damage. I think the high SIG level is going to make your Special 2 just utterly amazing. So for most of my testing here, this is the group that I used. There was probably one time where I dropped Venom in there. And then there was one time that I did with both Carnage and Agent Venom. And yeah, realized how terrible of a choice that was. So as you can see here, the first thing we are looking at is bleed damage. This is something that I think most champions or summoners use for their champions. Everybody's kind of like into deep wounds. It's always right around 89 to 91. The only time that changes is if you build up a large amount of Furies. And as you can see here, there's no real difference between being duped versus unduped. It's still right around the same amount. For that, I'm giving an initial grade of C. Now, with this champ, there are going to be several different times where there will be multiple grades based off different circumstances. So right here you can see I'm going to be activating these Furies. And as you can see, those bleeds deal much better damage. Now, had I had some precisions in there, I'd probably be able to stack it up higher. When I had 9 precision buffs in the RNA bank, I had probably 15 bleeds going. It was amazing. Alright, so now that we have an idea about the blades, the next thing is going to be aberration management. That's kind of the best thing that I can call it. In the upper left corner there, you see the black Venom symbol slowly just gaining numbers, and then when it hits 100, it gives you a buff. This will absolutely make or break a fight. The special one increases the utility of the buff. As you can see there, it gained about 30% or 30 to 40 on the scale there. And so it just allows you to build your buffs up way faster. Now, banking it can be kind of hard, not gonna lie. So, first you have to get the RNG to give you the buff you want. So you have to keep going, keep going. As soon as you get a buff that you do want, let's see, right here we are getting regen. So I want to save that. Right now, I have to use a special 1 or special 2. A special 3 will remove the buff and not bank it. So my only other option is I have to parry and get that heavy. Or get a heavy somehow. Here I'm going to kind of try and like force it, and it didn't quite work. So now that I've got a Fury, I'm going to try it again. That's a buff that I'm going to want to bank. And this one I think I just barely get. Yep. Now, like I said, banked buffs can make or break a fight. Here I've got 3 banked buffs. And as you can see, it's precision and power gain. Power gain isn't like Power Flood where you just constantly gain. It's only power gain off of any damage that you deal out. And so it's useful for sure, but it's not as good as, say, having 3 Furies so that way you can deal out more damage, or having 3 regens so that way you can heal up. Here's a fight against Kang. I have 10 Furies saved up, and as you can see, damage is much better. 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. It is just solid damage. I'm able to just rip through that Kang. 14 hits. So knowing which buffs you want to save, definitely something you need to know. Now, like I said, Fury and Regen are definitely my 2 favorites. Here's a look at the Regen. Just one of them at a time gives you about 75 health. Not really like super fantastic. But saving them up, building them up, is definitely something that's going to be super helpful. Definitely helps you out with those long fights. Alright, and here's a quick look at that. I give him a B on the regen. Initially, because it's still a pretty solid regen. As you can see here, I've banked up some buffs. There's going to be 2 regens. It's a pretty set amount, so it'll always be 75 for each regen that you do. There is that small deficit, but it's not really there at 2. But here you can see I'm gaining about just a huge amount of health there. So depending on how much you have stacked, it'll either be an A or an A+, in my opinion. So here's a little bit more about the damage output. This is pretty standard. So 200 to 300 uncrit value is about the normal that I got from most of my maxed out 4 stars. Crit damage was, of course, a little bit different just because everybody has different crit damage ratings. Now here, as you can see, Fury's increased the damage. The crit is the most important part. Now he's getting about 3,600 on medium attacks. I think it was, yeah, 1,500 on light attacks. So pretty helpful. Initially, I feel like it's a C without any Furies. As you build him up and as you build Furies and Precisions, definitely an A rank on damage. The problem is the ramp up. Now, of course, you can increase that damage further with the Special 2, the Toxic Armor like we were talking about. And that's kind of the symbol of it. It's like a green armor shield type thing. And the main thing you're looking at here is that red number. That's an additional damage just because of that toxicity. And that was kind of a mix there. Bleeds and that toxic armor. Just all that damage just falling right off of him. I imagine a 5-star is going to be able to way out damage what this 4-star is doing. So here's my thoughts on what Venom the Duck should be used for. The best use is going to be questing, because you can build up his RNA bank. He could do pretty well on War Attack, just depending on, you know, the nodes that you're fighting. I would not use him on War Defense. There's just too much RNG, too much random possibility for this. And I probably would never use him on endgame content, like Labyrinth of Legends or Realm of Legends. Here's why. This was Captain Marvel, Realm of Legends, 498 hits. Super long. Now we have Winter Soldier. Again, 500 hits, just an insane amount. So yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this new format. And yeah, definitely leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you next time.